Hi, friends, and welcome to my channel. This is a podcast where I share my insights. And today I'm talking about going the extra mile. And that is not what you think. There's something very special in that language about the extra mile. It's not about more. It's about so much less that it's too good to be true. So if you're interested in going the extra mile, of tasting the upper echelon of excellence, stick around. What I have to say might surprise you. When we think about going the extra mile, we may be tempted to think about those people that do it all. They've got everything. They're here and there. They get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. And they work relentlessly until the sun goes down. And going the extra mile becomes just quantity. But what I want you to understand is that going the extra mile is about enriching quality. And people who go the extra mile stand out. But if you think about it, in terms of, let's say, competitive swimming, the difference between a gold medal and a silver or bronze medal in competitive swimming is a fraction of a second. Detail. It's about those people who are willing to develop a skill so refined, so pure, so focused that it seems like they're on a different planet, when it doesn't really look like it in an external way. They've just opened a dimension within themselves where the ability pours in because they're focused on that one thing. And so you have to think of it in terms of athletics. Michael Phelps broke records. Yes, he had the physical gift. He was tall, had everything. But still, he went the extra mile. And if you think about it in that term, he had to mute out everything else in his life, most likely, and focus on refining his technique, increasing his speed, perfecting swimming. Yes, countless hours. Yes, brutal training. Yes, lots and lots and lots of nutrition. I mean, so much goes into that externally. But internally, it's a minutia. Jerry Seinfeld is also one of these people that understands going the extra mile. And he speaks about this, which I think is interesting, because Jerry Seinfeld is also one who meditates. Jerry Seinfeld got successful because he wrote one joke a day. He had a calendar, and his goal was to write one joke every single day. And he would cross off on he didn't want to break the streak. Right? So that's the art of refinement, and he talks about how just stick with one thing and get really, really good at it. That's the extra mile. That's the art of refinement. So this is about taking away things. And how many people in your life are reluctant to take away, to reduce, to mute out everything, to develop a single skill? Not many. Many of us are distracted by thinking of quantity, more. The extra mile is less. Less. I experienced this in a previous life. I was a musician. I was a music major in college. And I loved playing the organ. I was a classical organist. And it kept me out of trouble. Now I realize that. It was the one thing I wanted. I wanted to make that skill so refined. I was committed to excellence. So, in order for me to do that, I had to give up partying, video games, messing around, and it gave me a taste of what a lot of people do not get in their life, which is quality. Quality comes from this sense of timelessness. When you're engrossed in a singular activity, over and over and over and over again, what you do is you make the most, you extract the plump juiciness of that one thing. So this is about making the most out of nothing. And you get into what's called Kairos time, which is a mythological kind of time, God's time, which means that it's opportune and it's juicy and it's plump and it's ripe and it's ideal. And you are not distracted. And if you can get into that undistracted heaven, you can develop a skill that makes you untouchable. But it may be a fraction of a second different if you're a competitive swimmer or whatever. It's the minutia of focus that's called the extra mile. Therefore, I would encourage you to pick one thing and to hell with the rest. A lot of entrepreneurs get involved in too many startups at once. That's not the extra mile. That's more and more and more and more and more. An unquenchable thirst. What I'm encouraging you to do is to get into the top 0.001%. I don't care what it is. Even comedy, like Jerry Seinfeld, can be refined. Writing can be refined. Dancing can be refined. Music can be refined. Infinitely refined. I used to tell my music students all the time, if you can get your skill honed in to such a high degree, you can get glimpses of heaven, where the body is doing it for you. These fingers played Bach for many, 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 many years. And each time I come back to it, I can refine it and refine it and refine it. I no longer practice anymore. My practice is showing you how to go the extra mile. I have a new field of teaching. I've had to get rid of all the distractions. And really I write every single day. I've been writing every single day for about 6 years. And I write on my blog a 300-word essay every day. I'm in a streak, just like Jerry Seinfeld. And if you can get into a streak like that, you'll be unstoppable. You will experience a quality of life unknown to conventional thinking, which is always craving more. So the extra mile, that little bit that seems to not matter to people, that's what makes you stand apart. It gives you the ability to make the most out of nothing. And that's the benefit of being a human being. You get to see the minutia of the universe in something called focus. The ego wants to see, let me put it into you in this language. And I don't like to use this language all the time, but this might help you. The ego tries to see the universe like God sees the universe. All of it at once. The spirit does one thing at a time just like God. The ego does everything at once. The spirit does one thing at a time just like God. So the ego's trying to be God. Everything. God, everything. I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this. And when you settle down and get into the upper levels of focus, you start to experience something called heaven, Kairos time. You get to get glimpses of how God does things one thing at a time. I don't like to use that language, but that's what it is. It's a heavenly way of such focus that if you come back to it, and you come back to it, and you come back to it, it seems to never end. Refinement upon refinement upon refinement. That's the extra mile into the details. If you're into classical music, there's a choir called Voces 8, Voces 8. They got it. Nobody can lick the bottom of their feet. There's not a choir on earth. They've got something. It's a magical refinement that I have never heard in choral music ever. Somebody knows something in that group. I encourage you to listen to it. That's the extra mile. But you can't get there if you don't love what you do. I promise you. If you don't love what you do, you'll never be able to do the extra mile. The extra mile will be out of your reach. This is fueled by love, passion, an absolute lust for the succulence of Kairos time, where time is not a barrier, nor is money. So if you're interested in going the extra mile, think about these things. My name is Ryan Hebert. Please check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com.